Do you want to get started right away?
Yeah. Let's get started right away.
Running back to where the case was at, we asked them to provide a refund citing the RERA rules. They came back with a reply from Mr. Devesh Tredia from Wadhwa Group. He's a relationship manager.
Okay.
On the email that I asked him to provide a refund, because there are RERA rules, RERA cases, RERA orders which have
such orders. Okay.
So what he's saying is, we again reiterate and deny all the allegations made by you. We have followed the due process of getting the apartment registered, but you have failed to do so by raising queries that are irrelevant and impossible to address. We stand by our last cancellation letter sent to you, and forfeiture amounts will be as per that letter. I have raised queries on the agreement that were irrelevant and impossible to address.
But why would a query be impossible to address?
Yeah. Can we start with, looking into some of the queries that I have raised with them?
Yeah, let's do that. Suppose one assumes that you're going to go into their agreement, right? Like, we'll enter into the agreement. You are going to enter into agreement with Atmosphere. Atmosphere has three constituents. When they are corresponding with you, when they are dealing with you, when they are taking money from you, they are not dealing with you as Atmosphere. There they are dealing with you as Wadhwa. One of the three constituents. When you say developer means Wadhwa, Infra, and what's the third one? Chandak, collectively. Now the agreement format that they have posted on RERA, at RERA website, it is so full of issues where one has to not only raise queries but ideally change the paragraph or delete the paragraph itself. So I would like to point out a few of those paras to you. I have marked them out and I have sent it to you on your email also. There are about 15 screenshots that I have sent you. There are so many fundamental level issues and I have only taken out 15, and by including these things in the agreement, they are loading the risk on your shoulders.
Correct.
To say that it is a one-sided agreement is a cliche. One-sided to hai, because it is entirely drafted by them, by the builder, for the builder, of the builder. आपको तो सिर्फ यहाँ पे consent करना है. All the conditions are there. मतलब इतने waivers वो आपसे ले रहे हैं. लैंड को लेके वेवर्स ले रहे हैं, लिटिगेशन बोल के वेवर्स ले रहे हैं, सोसाइटी फॉर्म हुआ नहीं है लेकिन सोसाइटी के नाम से आपसे वेवर ले रहे हैं.
Yes, I went through those 15 points. They were more or less overlapping with what I raised with them on the high tension wire, on the land, places where they've asked me to give them indemnification on.
For imposing terms on what, not only what you will accept, but what the society will accept after the handover. They are saying that Federation, at one point I sent you a screenshot, it appears later on in the agreement. They are saying that Federation will sort of function according to the constitution laid down for it by the builder.
Correct.
How can the builder lay down a constitution for the Federation of Societies to be formed? वो भी उन्होंने agree भी नहीं किया. They are not yet in existence. So it is like when your children are born, your children will go into engineering. Bonded labor. Exactly. तो वो लोग मेरे ऑफिस में मुफ्त में काम करेंगे. That kind of thing, and you have to sign on it. So it is like that. It is ridiculous.
I think you have covered all of my concerns from the first piece. Yes, I've seen that.
So let's just quickly go through the paragraph. So it says, paragraph R, they are saying, the developer has disclosed and the purchasers are aware and have taken inspection of the site and are aware that there are high tension wires passing through the said land as shown in the layout plan. The developer has further informed the purchasers that the buildings constructed on phase 1 land are deficient in open space. And Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai has condoned all open space deficiency and has informed the developer to inform all its purchasers about the same. So MCGM basically told them, Baba, hum to condone kar denge, but you have to inform your purchasers about open space deficiency. Have these guys informed you about open space deficiency before you swiped your token?
No, they have not verbally ever mentioned the high tension wire. So high tension wire was one of the main points. I did not understand at the point in time ki aisa hota hai, because there's construction site, a lot of wires go by, right? So you never see anything that's fishy there. You would never even understand it. So I never knew of a high tension wire until I read this agreement. And then I got to know, I researched about it and I figured out uska bhi bahut implications hai. And this was just, when I checked the layout plan that you shared with me later, it was just above the entry-exit pathway. So I said that there's a huge risk to life. If it snaps or, there are some issues, then it is an issue. So high tension wire was one of my questions, that why was it not, called out while you were making the pitch to me. Second one was open space deficiency. No, it was never ever mentioned. In fact, this was a question that I asked to them: what is open space deficiency and what is its implication further? And why is it there here? I mean, why do I have to know about an open space deficiency? And to that, all they've said is that it is there in all agreements and it is a disclosure, so we have informed it.
Right. So you are required to have a very large amount of clearance from the high tension wires.
Okay.
I don't recall. I think it was 72 meters or something. I think it is it's quite a bit.
Okay.
Quite a bit. And the reason is, so there are multiple reasons. One is, high tension wire places constraints on fire brigade if there is ever a fire brigade wala situation in your building. If there is something happening, yours is a high rise, how many? 43 floors.
43 floors. Right?
43
floors. Habitable floors, plus there are another 4 floors beneath that.
Right. So 47 floors, right? So on top of a podium, you got 43 floors. If any situation should arise, the fire brigade would not be able to reach to you, not only because of high tension wire issue, but also because of open space issue. Because open spaces are needed, compulsory open spaces are needed to allow the fire brigade to access it. High tension wire plus open spaces means you are voluntarily accepting a higher level of danger. Now, what is the higher level of danger? We are not quantifying. We cannot quantify. Like, are you at 1.5% more chance of dying, or are you at 2.5% more chance of dying if a fire should arise? You are voluntarily accepting a risk for yourself and your family. That is the implication of this.
Got it.
So now they are saying municipal corporation has condoned all open space and has informed the developer. Now, informed the developer to inform its purchaser. If you swiped and they have not informed you, then it means you are not given informed consent. You have given consent without the information. And they are saying that developer is accordingly herewith informing the purchasers about the same. Herewith. Now, when you are informed and you have to give consent, you have the option of saying, yes, thank you for informing me, and I am not giving consent. I am withholding consent, because that consent cannot be forced. Na?
Correct.
So even on this point alone, you can say, I have not entered into agreement. Your draft agreement on RERA is informing me. You have not properly informed me. Draft agreement is informing me, and having considered, I want my booking amount back. You did not adequately inform me. And when you inform me, I have a right to consent to it or not consent to it. Then they are saying the buildings to be constructed on phase 2 land is deficient in open space. So Atmosphere O2, phase 2, the buildings to be constructed on phase 2 land are deficient in open space, and MCGM has condoned all open space. Okay, MCGM has condoned. Matlab, fire brigade wale, they will come there, stand there, fold their hands and watch the thing crackling merrily, burning, and they will say, sorry boss, कुछ नहीं कर सकते हैं, म्युनिसिपल कमिश्नर साहब ने कंडोन कर दिया है, अब हम कुछ नहीं करेंगे, अब तुम लोग अपने आप को बचाओ. फायर फाइटिंग
मतलब क्या होता है कृष्ण? कंडोन मतलब क्या होता है?
सेम एज एक्सक्यूज. चलो ठीक है, जाने दिया, मैंने अपने रूल्स को बेंड कर लिए. सो एमसीजीएम हैज कंडोन्ड ऑल ओपन स्पेस डेफिशिएंसी. अब उन्होंने जो भी पेनल्टी लिया, जो भी लिया फ्रॉम द बिल्डर, ही इज पासिंग इट ऑन टू यू. So the cost of the condonation is also coming from your pocket. It's not coming from his pocket.
Correct.
Atmosphere O2 का बिल्डर्स नहीं दे रहे हैं MCGM.
कॉस्ट सारा पास होएगा ही ना.
वो तो आपके जेब से ही जा रहा है ना.
Right.
So आपके जेब से पैसा लेके they get the open space deficiency condoned. MCGM को पैसा मिल गया, and they will say, okay, we condone it, open space deficiency, and to inform all its purchasers. That itself is a very clear signal that there is something to be consented. So based on this alone, you can strike it down. You can say, boss, sorry, I don't consent. And you can't forfeit my amount because you have not properly informed me. On the contrary, you have put me into great inconvenience and danger by trying to slip something past me. Okay, S, the one after R, which I have highlighted. The developer has represented to the purchaser that owners and developers of the neighboring plots shall develop their plots with deficiency in open spaces, and the purchaser shall not claim or raise objection for the same.
I have a question on that. First of all, why am I in my agreement giving up any claim or telling that I will not raise an objection for someone who is going to develop on the neighboring plot?
And which is hypothetical. वो करेगा, उसका severity क्या है, वो देख के you may raise an objection.
Correct.
Why are they taking a consent for something which is completely hypothetical and is not explained to you?
Right.
See, there are ways of encroaching. थोड़ा encroach करता है. Your neighbor says, बॉस मैं अपने चप्पल कॉमन एरिया में रख रहा हूँ. सो यू से ओके चल यार ठीक है, वो दरवाजे से बाहर चप्पल रखता है, यू से ऑल राइट, आई एम कंडोनिंग इट. लेकिन उसने अगर पूरा सिटिंग रूम का सामान बाहर रख दिया, एंड देन ही सेज नहीं, यू हैड सेड ना कि इट्स ओके इफ आई यूज द कॉमन एरिया समटाइम्स एंड ऑल, एंड देन ही ऑक्यूपाइज योर एंटायर कॉमन एरिया. देन यू आर सेइंग नो, दैट इन दैट केस नॉट ओके. तुम चप्पल रखते हो, इट्स ओके. शू रैक रखा, चलो वो भी चला लूंगा. फूल का गमला रखा, वो भी चला लूंगा. लेकिन उससे ज्यादा तुम करोगे तो देन आई विल ऑब्जेक्ट. सो हाइपोथेटिकल ये टाइप के जो है ना,
कृष, इसमें कि ये जो अरेंजमेंट है कि आपको चप्पल चलेगा, आपको लिविंग रूम नहीं चलेगा पूरा, दैट इज वन सिनेरियो, राइट? दैट इज वन वे टू लुक एट. द सेकंड वे टू लुक एट दिस, इट इज बिटवीन यू एंड योर नेबर. व्हाई इज द डेवलपर प्लेइंग द मंकी इन बिटवीन?
Good point. It is between you and the neighbor, owners/developers of neighboring plots. Who? तुम हो क्या? Exactly, you are right. Why is he being the monkey in between? तुम नहीं हो तो कैसे तुम ये सब मुझसे साइन करवा के ले रहे हो? और तुम अगर हो तो क्लियर कट बोलो तुम क्या करने जा रहे हो. Explain with details, with figures. How much deficiency in open space? Is it a 5% deficiency in open space or is it a 100% deficiency in open space?
Oh, ये भी है, right?
अच्छा, another thing, there is a grave implication here. कभी-कभी बिल्डिंग्स का क्या होता है, टावर्स का, हाई राइज.
Yeah.
You don't have enough open space surrounding your own tower for the fire brigade vehicles to come and encircle it. Ideally, it should have enough space to encircle it and snorkel खड़ा करने के लिए at a certain angle so that fire brigade guys can reach up to 20th floor or pretty high using that equipment. So this is the purpose of open space requirement, and open spaces are critical. Supreme Court तक जाके आया है cases. It is critical. It becomes life and death. In the absence of this thing, fire brigade, suppose somebody is hanging from a balcony. I'm giving you an extreme scenario, but something like वो ledge पे चला गया है or something. You should be able to get a snorkel to him. Fire brigade guys will say, sorry यार, नहीं कर सकते.
No, it is not an extreme scenario, Krish, because there are a lot of cases where, you know, if you have kids, then they may be playing around. अगर वो
hide and seek करने गए और ledge पे चले गए. You know, some extremely enterprising and athletic kid manages to find his way to a ledge. Fire brigade will say, sorry, MCGM ने बोला है, अभी हम क्या कर सकते हैं, कुछ नहीं कर सकते, sorry. अच्छा, now if there is a neighboring plot where you have open space, then from that neighboring plot, by accessing that neighboring plot, they can access your building. Now they are saying not only your plot will have open space deficiency, but these guys are actually planning to create open space deficiency in the neighboring plot also. That's what it's saying. So that is what this paragraph S is saying.
Correct.
Which is an intention to endanger you even further. And you are saying, okay, no problem. If you sign on this agreement, Atmosphere O2, okay, no problem. That way. So then I sent you another page.
Krish, just before closing that part, one is, this is phase 2. Phase 1 उसके बाजू में ही है. So there is another possibility कि phase 1 is also deficient in space, and दोनों मिला के वो deficiency increase हो जाता है.
हाँ, अभी उसका हमने स्टडी किया नहीं है, बराबर
नहीं है किया, but वो भी एक possibility है. और
correct, we'll have to look at that. We'll have to look at उसका भी. So यानी it's overall they create a neighborhood of open space deficiency and very high risk neighborhood.
Correct. So ये phase 1, इस case में it will affect phase 1 also then.
Yes, it will affect, yours will affect phase 1 also. Acha, then another one, sewage treatment plant and installation of transformers, access roads and RGs will be shared in common for all the buildings constructed on phase 2 land.
Yeah.
What they are saying, the development of basic balanced land envisages construction of underground tanks, firefighting tanks, rainwater harvesting tanks. Now some of these are innocuous. Like you can say, हाँ ठीक है ये normal है, underground tanks करना पड़ता है, करो. म्युनिसिपल वाटर आता है अंडरग्राउंड टैंक में उतरता है, अंडरस्टूड. फायर फाइटिंग टैंक, अंडरस्टूड. ओके. Rainwater harvesting tank, understood. Now we come to sewage treatment. Let's look at sewage treatment plant.
Before you start that, Krish, I'll tell you one thing. Sewage treatment plant बोला नहीं गया था कि आएगा, उसके layout पे भी था नहीं. So when I went to Mr. Ayusha for a discussion, he showed me the location and it was very near to my tower. So I was like, ये भी एक headache हो सकता है.
Yeah, and not only then, so what they are saying is the development of balanced land shall include construction of further structures, including all these, and temporary transit. Oh, wait, it gets better. So sewage treatment plant, hold that thought.
Okay.
Temporary transit camp for tenants. Tenants मतलब ये तुम्हारा SRA नहीं है ना?
नहीं, ऐसा
नहीं है. Temporary transit camp for tenants, labor camps. अब basically they are saying ये सब हम करेंगे. अभी वो किधर करेंगे? फेज 2 लैंड पे किधर करेंगे? दे आर सेइंग ऑन एनी पोर्शन ऑफ फेज 2 लैंड. सो बिल्डर इज गोइंग टू यूज योर फेज 2 लैंड. हाउ ही यूजेस इट बिफोर यू टेक पोजेशन, यू डोंट केयर. टेनेंट है, लेबर कैंप है, कुछ भी है, यू मे से ठीक है, एज लॉन्ग एज व्हेन इट रीचेस पोजेशन, you should remove transit camp and labor camp and all these things. Correct? So that should be a condition, and I looked through it. I did not find that condition anywhere, which means they are likely to give you possession with temporary transit camp for tenants and labor camps, and I don't even know clearly what is the shape and size of that labor camp. Okay.
Correct.
See, so the question arises, why would you as a homeowner want to consent to them for such arrangements? Now let's come to sewage treatment plant. Sewage treatment plant exactly kidhar rahega is the question, because based on its location, you can potentially get a very smelly flat based on where it is located.
Right.
Or you may be exposed to very smelly conditions when you go for the basement parking or podium parking.
Okay.
जहाँ पे podium parking में you approach your car, or basement, there's a basement plus podium, right?
Right.
So where in this entire layout is the sewage treatment plant located is one question that you have to know. And second thing you have to know from these guys, and they have to answer you, which you should ask them is, and even at this late stage when they have said that तुम्हारा पैसा हमने forfeit कर लिया and all, you can still ask them, boss तुम्हारा sewage treatment plant तुम किधर डालने वाले हैं? And it's like environmental impact reports, right?
Right.
What is the amount of, like, what smells, what gases would be emitted by your sewage treatment plant? I can't assume that nothing will be emitted. कुछ भी emission नहीं होगा. कुछ तो उसका impact रहने वाला है. उसका noise level क्या रहेगा? उसका smell level क्या रहेगा? What gases will be emitted? Particulate matter क्या रहेगा? By the way, particulate matter भी आता है. So I did a video where people living opposite a sewage treatment plant, about 30-40 meters away from sewage treatment plant. It was in Lodha's Casario. So they said उनका एयर कंडीशनर का जो आउटडोर यूनिट्स है ना, स्प्लिट एसी का, वो कोट हो जाता है बोलते हैं. उसका its fans and its mesh and all gets coated with some kind of a sticky slimy substance.
Okay.
So there is some kind of particulate matter, and depending on wind conditions, they have a decent day to a very bad day. If it's winter and all, when the air doesn't disperse, it can be very smelly. Or in monsoon where the humidity is already very high, the smell level can be. People will say, "मैंने यहाँ पे घर खरीदा क्यों खरीदा?" So again, they are trying to get you to consent to all these things.
नहीं, अगर ये particulate matter है तो I am तो allergic.
So you can have long-term health implications.
Yeah, I'm already allergic. Then it will worsen my health.
Right. What they are doing is, through this agreement, they are getting you to consent to so many conditions which they should not be putting on you, because it is the builder's job to give you a completely safe, in terms of environment, in terms of hazards, fire hazards and all that, is to give you a safe product. How he does it is his business.
Right.
His job is to sell you a safe product. Now, we can't say no. If I build a safe product, I can construct up to, let us say, 500 flats. But because I want to construct 800 flats, I am going to make a slightly more unsafe product. No. You don't get to do that. You have to make it the safest product possible. That is what a flat is. This is completely unethical. Essay type say they are slipping these things.
And I also remember you telling me that so this sewage treatment plant water that gets usually pumped up, for toilet use purposes.
Yeah.
And you also said that if it shares the same wall with a water tank of drinking water supply and all of that, then that is also hazardous, right?
Right. That's one more thing. That's one more thing. You should know when there is a sewage treatment plant, they are going to pump the water up so that you can flush it. STP water is used for flushing. Now, therefore, it has to be stored in rooftop tanks along with your drinking water tank. Now, drinking water tank, if it is completely separate from STP water, that is one level of safety. But very often what happens is they share a wall. There's a common wall made of concrete, but a common wall between regular tank and STP tank. So over time, it develops micro cracks and little possibility of leakage seepage. If there is leakage seepage and contamination of your drinking water from STP, then boss, your entire building is going to be going down with gastro at some point of time. So depending on whether you are drinking tap water or not. But even if not gastro, even then you will also come into your shower water and so on.
Yes.
So it turns into desperate situation. So at least ये पूछना बनता है कि हमारा टैंक कैसा है. Show us what is the terrace layout. Show us how you are storing the tank.
Okay. Yeah, ये सब तो कुछ नहीं हुआ.
ये तो करने की जरूरत है. They have to inform you because these are product features. If the flat is a product, these are the features of the product, and you may choose not to buy that product based on these features. You may say, I want a higher level of safety, therefore thank you, but no thank you, I don't want it. Another thing is your transmission line. Again, there is another page where we'll return to transmission line, point V.
Yes.
So transmission line, high tension transmission line, they are saying no construction is permissible below such transmission lines to the extent of 17.5 meters from the central lines from such transmission line. Okay. Now there is one. So they are saying there is access road is allowed below the transmission line. So your access road is passing, let us say 17.5 meters below. 17.5 meters is what? About 50 feet. It converts to about approx 50 feet. 55 feet.
57 feet.
57 feet. Okay. So you will be passing 57 feet, which is about, say, let us say 5 to 6 stories below transmission line. Now, the important thing to know, this is a little bit of scientific andar ki baat. Power is not traveling through the wire. We always think of the transmission line as a pipeline through which water, power travels like water. Actually, power travels around the transmission lines. The electromagnetic waves are not inside, they are surrounding. So you are exposed to magnetism, ionizing radiation. You are exposed to ionizing radiation in various degrees. Abhi kitna ionizing radiation hai, what are the distances? Again, not all is known. But because Nahur, this is in Nahur, right?
Correct.
So because Nahur was an industrial area, therefore the high tension wires, again it depends also on what is high tension mein kitna electricity travel kar raha hai, like what is the voltage. Now Nahur being an industrial area, and these guys have gotten condonation for the residential use.
Right, it is an SEZ converted to residential.
Exactly. So you are unnecessarily being exposed to the risk of ionizing radiation. Abhi uska kya risks hai, there is a lot of scientific literature and internet is full of it. Besides that, there will be a fairly strong noise, okay? Depending on the high voltage kitna hai, pretty constant hum. It can be a loud hum. It's a fairly strong noise. So again, you are consenting to noise. Now, my point here is, they have designed a product. Let me give you an example of a fridge. You are buying a fridge. Let us say 165 liters ka fridge or 200 liters ka fridge kharida. The guy who's selling you the fridge is not making you sign all kind of waivers and disclaimers saying उसमें से गैस लीकेज हुआ तो मेरा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं है, उसका गैस टॉक्सिक है ये मैं जानता हूँ, इफ देयर इज इलेक्ट्रिकल लीकेज इट कैन शॉक कैन कॉज डेथ, ये सब मैं जानता हूँ, दे हैव गिवन मी कंडोनेशन, वैसे तो इतना उसका इंसुलेशन होना चाहिए बट आई हैव टेकन कंडोनेशन फॉर लेस इंसुलेशन and as customer I know all this and therefore I'm willingly consenting to the risk. I never seen a fridge manufacturer do it or a TV manufacturer do that.
Yes.
Now when these guys are saying that it is more risky and they are putting it in the agreement, there are two ways to interpret. One is they are informing you, oh, ठीक है. But when you are signing it, you are kind of accepting the risk. So tomorrow if something untoward happens and you go to court, तो इन्होंने willingly high risk premises में रहना चाहा, they consented.
Correct.
अभी शॉक से उसका बच्चा मर गया तो मैं क्या करूं? They consented.
2 points here. One is it is not just limited to this risk. So if you go through the entire agreement, you will understand that there are a lot of risks associated, and they have taken consent. Yes, you are aware of this risk, and still they are going ahead, and you won't raise any issue going further.
Right.
Land was one of the topics that we discussed earlier, where there are legal suits right now,
Right.
but there is no indemnification from the developer that if things go either way, they are going to compensate us or figure out a way for us. That again, land ka bhi issue will, I'm assuming, may not just affect phase 2, will affect phase 1 also. So that is one thing. And third thing is, you talked about this thing, right? The radiation and how far the towers are.
Yeah.
So this high tension fire effect was another thing that I had raised there when I was in a meeting with Mr. Ayush. So what he said was, आप अगर टावर डी में होते ना फिर भी मैं समझता क्योंकि वो पास में है उधर ड्राई फेस से. अब ये आपका टावर एफ है तो मुझे थोड़ा, तो फिर आपको क्या कंसर्न है? तो मतलब टावर डी दे आर
and their wordings, it is indicative of an intention to do some golmaal. I'll show you another wording. Point number X. The developer is entitled to sell all the flats, dwellings, premises, blah, 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 office, commercial premises, shops, godowns, apartments, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now, if you look at RERA uses only one word, flat. Flats means whether it's a commercial gala, it's also a flat. Okay. If it is an industrial gala, it is also a flat. Anything is a flat. That is the word flat has been used blankly. Even if it is on ground floor and you have a tenement, okay. So the word flat encompasses within itself all kind of units which you may use industrially, residentially, commercially, whatever. Now, these guys, when they create, is entitled to sell all this flat, dwelling, premises, offices, commercial premises. They are creating this confusion. They have made you accept it, okay. It makes you worry that, see, if you have a legal entitlement, you don't have to put it in the agreement. We know you are entitled to sell everything.
Sell everything that can be habitable or can be used for some...
FSI, जिसको FSI में गिनते हैं, जिसके लिए तुमको फ्लोर स्पेस इंडेक्स के लिए तुमको प्रीमियम देना पड़ता है, you must have paid premium to MCGM, वो सब तुम बेच सकते हो. That is what you can sell, and other things you can't sell. Common areas you can't sell. Now, why are they putting this clause and saying, no, I agree, they can sell this, that and the other? Again, the question arises, boss, तुम्हारा intention क्या है इधर? Are you guys by any chance trying to sell or intending to sell something which is actually not saleable in the ordinary course of things?
If you just concentrate on the word premises, so his premises would cover everything, right?
Premises covers everything. वैसे flats covers everything. Abhi premises actually kind of brings out more. For example, suppose they create a garage and sell it separately. Can they? No. Okay. Not allowed. But suppose they do it. And then later on they will take shelter under this clause. And if you sue them, they will say, no, we had told you. Yes, you had told me, but this is not legal. You made me consent to something which I know is not legal.
Right.
Okay.
And then if you create somewhere else, and you will come to another clause where it says that it is up to them on how and where the construction and what all gets placed where in the land.
Right.
So again, this might have a more effect on the open space deficiency and maybe pose a higher risk. How is my consent required for them to sell something that they are legally allowed to sell? Hey, what's the purpose of getting this clause inside? I don't understand. Because जो बेच सकता है under law, उसके लिए तो I cannot raise any objection.
So it shows us some kind of possible intention. It's something that you should worry about.
Okay.
You know? So it basically pollutes your agreement.
Okay.
You know, your agreement में ऐसे सब होना ना, ये पुलाव में कंकड़ होने जैसा है. Your pulao should not have any stones, but they are deliberately introducing stones into your pulao, which is your agreement. So, for example, phenyl has no place in pulao. Why did you put phenyl in my pulao? They will say, no, madam, only one drop, only half drop, only 1/10 drop. अरे 1/10 drop क्या 1 particle तूने डाला तो क्यों डाला? पुलाव में नहीं डालने का, मैं इसको पुलाव नहीं मानूंगी. I will not accept this pulao.
No, it can be hazardous to your health.
It is. I don't care. वो तो आगे की बात है. तुमने डाला क्यों डाला है? इसमें जगह ही नहीं है. So agreement में कुछ ऐसी चीजें हैं जो मर्यादा है कि agreement is between you and builder within the ambit of the law. The correct intention of the agreement is to lay out all your rights to the extent of the law, to the fullest extent of the law. Okay. So it's like a balloon. आपके पास एक फुग्गा है, बिल्डर के पास एक फुग्गा है. ओके, दोनों का फुग्गा मोर और लेस सेम कैपेसिटी का होना चाहिए. यू एक्सपांड योर फुग्गा, ही एक्सपांड्स हिज फुग्गा. दैट इज योर अग्रीमेंट. यू ले आउट ऑल योर राइट्स, ही लेज आउट ऑल हिज राइट्स. द टू फुग्गास विल ऑक्यूपाई द फुल स्पेस. फिर बचता है जो भी अगर स्पेस बचता है विच इज नॉट नोन, नॉट अंडरस्टूड एक्सेट्रा, दैट विल बी कवर्ड बाय लॉ. द लॉ ऑफ द लैंड कवर्स ऑल ऑफ दैट. क्या बेच सकता है, क्या नहीं बेच सकता है, वगैरह वगैरह. इफ इट्स नॉट आर्टिकुलेटेड, द लॉ ऑफ द लैंड विल कवर इट. इट विल बी सेटल्ड अकॉर्डिंग टू द लॉ. अब ये क्या कर रहे हैं बिल्डर, क्या कर रहे हैं मालूम है? वो आपको एक छोटा सा फुग्गा पकड़ा रहे हैं. उनका फुग्गा बहुत बड़ा है, बड़ा ह्यूज बलून. आपका स्पेस वो ले रहे हैं. दे आर टेकिंग अवे ऑल योर राइट्स. दे आर एक्सपांडिंग देयर फुग्गा इनटू योर एरिया.
राइट.
इट इज सो अनइक्वल. They are in the guise of informing you. They are not informing you. They are taking your consent, and later they will be able to use this and say, ये तो हमने बोला था. देखो open space deficiency हमने बोला था. High tension wire है मतलब risk है, बोला था. Now if something happens tomorrow, they will say हाँ बोला था. So then that to that extent the law tends to be thrown off. You know?
Correct.
अच्छा, अभी मैंने जो कंकड़ बोला ना, पुलाव में कंकड़. I'll point out another kind of concern. This is contractual space. So like I said, contractual space है, उसमें दो ही फुग्गे का स्कोप होता है, एक आपका और एक सामने वाले का. Only two rights have to be expanded. Okay? Have to be articulated. Now, if you introduce external parties, then you are deliberately उसमें छेद कर रहे हो. Deliberately अग्रीमेंट के अंदर छेद कर रहे हो या उसके अंदर कंकड़ डाल रहे हो, विच विल कॉज कंफ्यूजन. नाउ लेट मी एक्सप्लेन. देयर इज दिस क्लॉज Y ऑन पेज 9. इट स्टार्ट्स ऑन पेज 9. आई सेंट यू अ स्क्रीनशॉट.
ओके.
इट सेज द डेवलपर प्रेजेंटली हैज अपॉइंटेड एंड एंगेज्ड द सर्विस ऑफ स्पेसेज कंसल्टेंट एज लाइजनिंग आर्किटेक्ट, संदीप शिकरे एंड एसोसिएट्स एज डिजाइन आर्किटेक्ट, J+W कंसल्टेंट LLP एज स्ट्रक्चरल इंजीनियर for preparation of structural designs and drawings of the developer, and Man Infraconstruction Limited as the contractor. Man is already a partner, or rather an equal party. Right word would be what? Shareholder.
He's a partner, right?
He's a party inside of their Atmosphere O2.
Correct.
Already है. In addition to that, they have separately engaged Man Infraconstruction as the contractor, which kind of makes the relationship weird already. This is what they are saying. Now listen to it gets funnier. And further, the developer has the right to terminate their services and also appoint other professionals in place of them as they deems fit and proper.
ठीक है, तुमको जो करना है कर सकते हो.
तुमको जो करना है कर सकते हो, वो हमको बताने की जरूरत भी नहीं थी. You are building a product, how you are building that product, how you are manufacturing it, whom you are involving in the manufacturing, whom you are involving in taking clearances. We don't care. We don't care as long as it's a safe product. Right?
Correct.
अभी ये सब उसमें उन्होंने डाला. Then they are saying something funny. The developer will continue to take the professional supervision of the architect and structural engineers. वो ठीक है. until completion of the residential building. Okay, अभी तक ठीक है.
Okay.
ठीक है. We are not subject matter experts, so we don't care. And then they are saying, and the purchaser accepts the supervision of the architect, structural engineer, and turnkey contractor until completion of the residential building. Why you as a purchaser should accept anybody's professional supervision, or what they are calling professional supervision? We don't know what level of involvement they want to have and how they want to get engaged with you. So why should you accept anything? तुम तो सिर्फ डेवलपर को जानते हो, तुम किसी और को नहीं जानते हो. और उसके अंदर फर्दर द आर्किटेक्ट, सी neither Space Age consultant nor Sandeep Shikre and Associates nor JWL Consultants LLP nor Infraconstruction, none of these people are signatories in this agreement.
Correct.
So all this is concerning your relationship with someone who is not signatory in this. This vitiates the agreement because you should only talk about the rights and duties. ये आप दोनों का rights and duties है, आप दोनों के दो balloons है, दो फुग्गे हैं. Why are you introducing additional fuggas?
Correct.
Because they are conferring rights. When they say purchaser accepts the professional supervision of the architect, you know what happens?
I can't raise a question going forward.
They are conferring a right on the architect. They are conferring a right on the structural engineer and turnkey contractor vis-a-vis you.
Correct.
But why should they be conferring anything vis-a-vis you, man? नहीं होना चाहिए. So something desperately wrong is being introduced into your agreement.
Right.
You know?
तो कल को मेरे को अगर possession मिल जाता है, I'm staying there and something goes wrong in the apartment or something, you never know what goes wrong where. So ये सारा लोग, Mr. Space Age, Sandeep Shikre, JW and Man Infra and other, I don't know क्या क्या होगा इसमें. So all these guys, they have the right to say that you have accepted our services and you have no business raising questions on what we did or how we did, or अगर उसका कुछ impact भी हो रहा है तो we are not responsible because we accepted it, right?
Or they will send their personnel. Now obviously Sandeep Shikre and Associates will not turn up at your doorstep.
Okay.
But somebody carrying the identity cards from these guys, from any of these guys or all of these guys, can turn up at your doorstep and demand access to your flat. हमको अंदर आने दो.
Oh, इतना भी हो सकता है?
I think that is likely to be the intention. Otherwise, I fail to see what is the intention here. The only intention can be that they will try to gain access to your premises, and boss, that's trespassing.
Right.
Once you've given possession, then you cannot enter at will. Then you will only enter at the discretion and sweet pleasure of the flat owner.
Correct.
Your ownership of that flat will become 100%. You need not allow anyone to enter. Even if a cop wants to enter, he has to bring a search warrant here. Nobody can enter.
Correct.
So these guys, I don't know. उसका intention clear नहीं है, but इसका intention clean नहीं है. It's not a clean intention, whatever the intention. And now, by the way, I had sent you 15 screenshots. I have only reached till 5. So there are 10 more which I want to point out to you. I'm running a bit short of time. So let us carry this forward to another conversation. अभी मैंने 5 दिखाया ना. I will not be surprised if I can 50-50 हो जाएगा. I am not.
नहीं जाएगा कृष, बिल्कुल हो जाएगा, because I have given it 3 readings and मेरे को I have missed a few points. I still feel.
I am not saying this is unique to only Atmosphere O2. The other builders also do various versions of this. But you are not concerned with them because you did not pay them a token or booking amount.
Right.
You are concerned with these guys here.
तो मेरा सबसे बड़ा issue यही है कि after raising all these issues with them, they are saying these issues are irrelevant.
How can it be irrelevant? You know what? You can simply say, boss, तुम्हारा agreement है ना? It is an onerous agreement. Onerous is one of those legal type words. Means there are so many clauses that you are trying to impose upon me without my consent and which would be harmful to me. Now, there is no law which compels you to sign an agreement which is full of clauses which are against your interest. फुग्गा फुलाना होता है, 50% बिल्डर फुलाएगा, 50% आप फुलाओगे. That is the way it is an agreement is supposed to be done. अभी 50 में से 49 आपका हो सकता है. It is possible. But ये तो 50 में से आपका 5 है और बिल्डर का 95 हो गया.
And this kind of an agreement, they send you a draft and they say you need to come and so you need to come as soon as possible and sign it.
As soon as possible उधर आओ, घाई में sign करो at the registrar's office. You should have a lawyer who vets the draft.
Okay.
Then he has to sort of equalize the draft so that your side of it is as strong as the builder's side of it. As I said, fuga fulane ka. When you come to that point, when the two are more or less equal, then you will sign, not in the registrar office. First you will sign.
Execution of the agreement, correct.
First you will sign in the office. Having understood each and every clause, you will understood and accepted each and every clause, you will sign. Then it will be registered. Even if you sign without registration, that agreement is still an agreement and binding. स्टैम्प ड्यूटी नहीं पे किया है, रजिस्टर नहीं किया है का मतलब ये नहीं है कि इट इज नॉट एन एग्रीमेंट. इट विल स्टिल बी एन एग्रीमेंट एंड विल प्रोबेबली बी एनफोर्सेबल बाय लॉ. उसका एनफोर्सेबिलिटी कम नहीं होगा.
Okay.
The stamp duty part of it is not critical. The registration part of it is important. But the really critical part is the reading of the clauses. And the consent that you give should be knowing and willing consent. यहाँ पे your consent is the intention of all these guys. Whenever they do this, they call you to the registrar's office. फटाफट चलो sign करो. You have not seen the whole thing. You cannot read the whole thing. They will say initial each and every page. So what they are doing is they are hijacking your consent.
Correct.
It is not willing and knowing consent, and they are just basically hijacking it. वो urgency create करके, pressure create करके तुमको वो देखो मैडम हमको अपॉइंटमेंट मिला है आज का साइन कर लो.
In मेरे केस में तो Krish, it was awesome. No? 1st April I pay you 14 lakh rupees. I keep following up for a draft. You give me a draft in August, 4 months after, and then you tell me आओ अभी sign करो तुरंत में.
They could have told you, but in the draft, if you want changes, that is your right. It is your right, and if the changes. Now let us assume I'll take another extreme scenario. Suppose you are a very unreasonable person. So let us say you agreed to each and everything and they managed to convince you on each and everything. But one thing you guys don't reach agreement, which is where a certain full stop will be placed in a sentence. Okay? Suppose you say ये comma को बदलो वरना मैं agreement नहीं sign करूँगी. The law will still support you in not signing the agreement. The law says you are not satisfied with each and every comma and full stop, na? Don't sign, nobody can force you. When they say we will forfeit your money, we have forfeited your money because you are not signed the agreement as we have given it to you, as is where is basis. It basically amounts to coercion. Sign this or we will take away your money. So ये coercion है, and it's a criminal activity. It is like holding a gun to your head and saying sign it or else.
Right.
Okay. And I think you have more or less said it when you raise these queries about the agreement. It amounts to an objection. They have to satisfy you on the query because they have given you a draft.
Right.
And if you
I have mentioned that I will not be able to sign this agreement unless I'm convinced or, I have a resolution to all of these.
See, you are equal parties. The builder and you, they are a company, you are an individual, still you are an equal party. Would they have signed any old agreement which you brought up? Suppose your lawyer drafted up something and said, this is the agreement we'll sign. Would they have signed it? Yeah. Clearly no. They would say, ye change karo, wo change karo, at least. They would have made a lot of changes.
Correct.
So how is your right less than their right?
They assume my right is less because they have my 14 lakhs, right?
Yes, exactly. So that is, तुम उनके नीचे दबे हुए हो. They have possession of your 14. They don't have ownership of your 14 lakhs. They have possession of your 14 lakhs, and now they are arguing that they have ownership of your 14 lakhs. And they are trying to confuse you with all these technical terms, your forfeit and all that. But
Yeah.
now a fight lies ahead. You'll have to fight it. We will do one thing, Komal.
Yeah.
Let's continue in another call, maybe tomorrow. So
हाँ.
let us continue tomorrow or something. Okay? Chalo.
ठीक है.
Chalo. Take
Okay.
care. Bye.
चलो, Mr. Krishna.